Hello everyone. Today we're going to deal with teaching pronunciation. Before we start our lesson, there are some questions I would like you to think about. The first question is, what's pronunciation? Actually, there are different definitions related to pronunciation. However, the broadest and easiest definition to remember is, pronunciation is the way a language is spoken. Therefore, it includes sounds, word stress, sentence stress, rhythm, linking, intonation, etc. The next important question is, what are the goals of teaching pronunciation? Actually, according to Mercier, there are three main goals of teaching pronunciation. Firstly, teaching pronunciation enables our learners to understand and be understood. Additionally, it builds their confidence in entering communicative situations. And finally, it enables them to monitor their speech based on input from the environment. It should be noted that native-like pronunciation is not really the ultimate goal, but intelligibility is a more feasible goal to achieve. In terms of teaching pronunciation, there has been a controversial debate on segmentals bottom-up or supersegmentals top-down. For bottom-up approach, they believe that we should teach pronunciation from individual sounds or segmentals to stress reduced forms, rhythm, intonation, suprasegmentals. However, supporters of top-down approach argue it in the reversed way from suprasegmentals to segmentals. Pronunciation has emerged from the segmental, suprasegmental debate to a more balanced view, which identifies features which contribute most to lack of intelligibility in communication. Now, let's talk about the principles of teaching pronunciation. There are some important principles we should keep in mind. Number 1. Foster intelligibility during spontaneous speech. Remember, not native-like pronunciation, rather than intelligibility. Number 2. Keep affective considerations firmly in mind. When you teach pronunciation, take your students' feelings into considerations. Don't make them lose their face. Number 3. Avoid the teaching of individual sounds in isolation. We should teach sounds in words, in phrases, sentences, and in communicative situations. Number 4. Provide feedback on learner progress. Learners will really appreciate your help if you can show them what is good and what needs improvement in their pronunciation and how to improve their pronunciation. Number 5. Realize that ultimately it is the learner who is in control of changes in pronunciation. Remember, teachers only show them the way to improve their pronunciation. The rest is the student's job. The next issue is when to teach pronunciation. We can teach a whole lesson on pronunciation, though it would be difficult to spend a whole class period working on one or two sounds. It can make sense to work on connected speech, concentrating stress and intonation over some 45 minutes. However, making pronunciation the main focus of a lesson does not mean that every minute of that lesson has to be spent on pronunciation work. Sometimes, students may also listen to a longer tape, working on listening skills before moving to the pronunciation part of the sequence. Sometimes students may work on aspects of vocabulary before going on to work on word stress, sounds, and spelling. Also, we can treat pronunciation as discrete slots. The teachers can insert short, separate bits of pronunciation work into lesson sequences. Over a period of weeks, they work on all the individual phonemes, either separately or in contrasting pairs. At other times, they spend a few minutes on a particular aspect of pronunciation, say, or on the contrast between two or more sounds. Such separate pronunciation slots can be extremely useful and provide a welcome change of pace and activity during the lesson. However, pronunciation is not a separate skill. It is part of the way we speak. Even if we want to keep our separate pronunciation phases, we need times when we integrate pronunciation work into longer lesson sequence. The teachers get students to focus on pronunciation issues as an integral part of a lesson. When students listen to the tape, for example, one of the things which we can do is draw their attention to pronunciation features on the tape. If necessary, having students work on sounds that are especially prominent or getting them to imitate intonation patterns for questions. Last but not least, we can teach pronunciation whenever possible. That's what we call opportunistic teaching. The teachers may stray from their original plan when lesson realities make this inevitable, and teach vocabulary or grammar opportunistically because it has come up. So, there are good reasons why we may want to stop what we are doing and spend a minute or two on some pronunciation issues that has arisen in the course of an activity. A lot will depend on what kind of activity the students are involved in, since we will be reluctant to interrupt fluency work inappropriately, but to tackle a problem or the moment when it occurs can be a successful way of dealing with pronunciation.